Hello there and welcome back to my channel. My name is Claire Leroy and I am the owner of The Little Design Corner, and I'm an interior designer, an educator and a mum of 3 boys. On this channel I create videos for interior designers, decorators and home renovators who are looking to create beautiful homes, of course, but also to build successful businesses that they love to work in. And today what we're doing is finishing off our 5-part video series where I have been walking you through one of the most popular projects I have over on my social media channels, and that is my Roseville project. Now, if you have missed any of the first parts of this video series, there are 4 other videos that have come before this one, then I would suggest you jump back and have a look at those first, as they give you a really good background to this project and what we've been looking at and all of the past details of it. And if you have watched those videos, you'll know that what we've been doing is renovating a Californian bungalow completely in original condition when we first bought it. And we did a renovation in 2 phases. In the first phase, what we did was renovate the existing Californian bungalow completely from original condition, looking at all the different elements and hurdles that we came across along the way, like having to deal with asbestos and rewiring and all the other sort of expensive things that you have to deal with when you purchase a traditional period home. And we then, at the end of that first phase of the renovation, my family and I moved into that bungalow and we lived there for a couple of years before we embarked on phase 2 of the project, which involved putting on this large modern extension to the rear of the property. So in the last video, we looked at all of the details related to that extension build, including the budget and how to, do a big project like this step by step, from all the steps that are involved, from laying the foundations all the way through to the framing and all the different elements that we had to do along the way. And today we are sharing the final part in the series, which is the very exciting part, and that is all of the after images of this back part of this extension, room by room. Now, I have shared a lot of these images over on my social media accounts, particularly on my Instagram, and people absolutely love to see this house, but I guarantee there are going to be pictures in here that I have not shared before, because I'm sharing all of the images that I could find that I had of this project, so that I could share all different details, all different angles, and you guys can have a look at all the details, because I get asked a lot of questions about this project. As we walk through room by room, I will share the different fixtures, fittings, furniture pieces, all of the different questions that I get asked about colors and all of that stuff as we go through the project and look at it room by room. Now, if you are new to my channel and you're interested in seeing videos like this, then please hit the subscribe button and also hit on that notification bell, because then you will be notified when new videos like this go live. All right, but in the meantime, let's jump into today's content and take a look at all of these after images of this project. So as a reminder, or in case you haven't seen the previous videos, here is the floor plan of the full house now that we have finished the back part of the extension. So in phase 1 of the project, we looked at this front Californian bungalow and the renovation that we did to that, including all of the structural work we did to create a large hallway through the middle of this property. And then we've also looked at the full renovation process of adding this extension to the back. And so the house is now fully completed, and we are going to be focusing in this video on all of the after images of this back part of the extension, because in one of the previous videos, which you can jump back into if you're interested, we have already looked at all of the after images of this front part of the house. So jump back and have a look at those if you're interested in seeing that and finding out more details about that. So the focus of this video is the back part of the house. And the first area that I want to go over and show you the images of is the kitchen area at the back here. Now, you'll remember from the previous video where we were looking at the actual renovation process that the house looked a little bit like this image on the left here as we were building it. And on the right, you can see that we now have the completed space. The kitchen was all done in polyurethane cabinetry. The colour that we used here was Dulux Lexicon Half. I get asked that question a lot. And I made this sort of island bench detail here with these steel legs, with the island bench just slightly offset from inside the legs there to create sort of a freestanding piece of furniture, if you like. We used V-groove on the back and side of the island just to bring a bit of texture to the kitchen. And the handles that we used here were from Made Measure. So as you can see, this is sort of a bit more of a glimpse of the overall space at the back of the house here, where we lead from the traditional part of the house through to this new modern extension. The kitchen also had all the appliances integrated, well, not the ovens, but the fridge was in this space here. We had a large pantry here, a sort of walk-in pantry. A tip about that we did was put a light on a motion sensor in that pantry. So whenever you open the door of the pantry, the light would go on. So that's a really good tip because it gives you really good lighting access to everything that's inside your pantry, obviously, but you don't have to worry about turning it on and off, you know, with a light every time you want to try and go in and get something. I'm going to show you inside this cupboard a little bit later, but we essentially had a sort of breakfast nook inside this cupboard, and we'll have a look at that in the next slide. I had this really nice study nook put into the kitchen as well. I'm not super convinced that you would need this. I probably, in hindsight, would actually put storage here rather than adding this study nook again. It looked stunning, but you know, my husband would drop his bills, you know, his keys and his coins, and the kids would put their toys there, and so it didn't often look like this. So if you are OCD like me, then maybe a study nook isn't right for you. You could also do something like this behind some cupboard doors if you do want the functionality of a study nook like this. We had another purpose-built study, which would have, you know, it was totally fine. So we probably didn't really functionally need this as a space. I sort of pictured the kids doing some homework there and stuff, but the reality, of course, is that the kids either sit up at the bench or sit at the dining table to do that. So yes, it looked beautiful. Whether I'd put a study nook in again, I'm not sure. I guess each family is different. So yeah, that's just sort of the way that it worked for us. Over the back here, you'll see that we have the mudroom that leads into the laundry, which is sitting behind this study nook and fridge area here. So we'll have a look at those a little bit later. So here is that breakfast nook cupboard that was just here in the image here. And inside there, I had this awesome zip tap. So this had boiling, filtered and sparkling water. It was so expensive, this tap. It was definitely a luxury purchase, but I absolutely loved it. I am a massive, massive tea drinker. So I, you know, make multiple cups of tea each day. So this was great for me because it had, you know, boiling water on hand. We also drink a lot of sparkling water, so it saved us having to buy bottles and bottles of that. So this was a great cupboard. The only thing I didn't realize about zip taps is this entire cupboard down here was pretty much used up by the unit that was used for this zip tap. So you do lose a lot of storage by installing a zip tap. So that's just something to keep in mind. A lot of people put the zip taps with their kitchen sink. I just didn't really want to look at it. And also I like the functionality of it being near my teacups and, you know, glasses and stuff like that. We also had the toaster in here, so I didn't have to look at that on the bench because that's so ugly. And in here we kept sort of, you can see the tops of the peanut butter and the breakfast stuff for the toasting. So this sort of worked really well as a bit of a breakfast nook for us. I thought I would also share a few details of this little space here. So we obviously had this window seat that we've talked about in the other videos, which was one of the best features in the end of the house, but was actually a mistake. So I've talked about that in the previous video before about how my builder and I sort of designed this window seat on the fly. And I absolutely loved this feature. It was so good that we ended up with that because I think the house would have been really boring without it. My builder put in this really nice shadow line detail that you can see here when he constructed the stairs for me, which I loved. I thought that really took those stairs up a notch, having that nice detail. And then you can see how nicely the materials here with the concrete floor and the oak that we used on the stairs with the steel bench seat, they all worked really, really nicely together. On the wall here, I had a little wall light. It looked, basically because it looked nice, but also it was really good functionally because we could just have that on at night for some really nice mood lighting, and it also lit these stairs up nicely so that it was safe for people coming and going on the stairs. So here's just a few more images of some of the details of the kitchen. You can see also we put some hidden PowerPoints under the island here, so that was really good functionally. My husband used to sit with his laptop on the island because, of course, I built him a study nook and he wouldn't sit there. So anyway, he sat at the island bench with his messy laptop instead of at the study nook. And so we had some power there. That's also really good if you want to, be using any other sort of appliances while you're on the island bench. So always remember to put some kind of power on your island bench if you're going to have an island bench. The sink that we used here was the Frankie double bowl sink in black. I love this sink. When I redo my kitchen again, I'm definitely going to use that sink again. I didn't have a microwave. Instead, what we had was a double oven system, but the second oven was not only an oven, but it also functioned as a microwave as well. I think it might have been the top one actually. So this meant that I didn't have to have an ugly microwave in my kitchen, which was awesome. And also we got the functionality of having a double oven if we ever wanted to use that. With the study nook, this actually was a drawer here. So this was handy because you could put some of the sort of messy stuff away inside the drawer when you wanted to. So that was quite good functionally. And again, you can see under here, we've got the PowerPoint and the data point for the use of this desk area. And it had a little cutout to bring all the power for whatever you needed to use at the study nook. At the back of the study nook, we had the V-groove that tied in with what we had put on the wall in the back space, which we can look at in a little bit. And then as mentioned, we had the integrated fridge, which I got from Fisher and Paykel. And I love this fridge as well. I may use this again. It was a little small for our family. We've got a family of 5. So this size was just a little small for us, but it's a really, really good fridge. And I love how it looks when it's integrated into the kitchen like this. These handles, the little pulls, were also from Made Measure. We had an induction cooktop and then a range hood above, which was framed in a veneer that I got from Feathers Veneers. So here's just a few other final angles of the space. And this is looking back from the mudroom to that picture window, which is just so beautiful. It was really such a nice part of the kitchen and the whole overall space. So I was just thrilled with how that all came together. And here's just a bit more detail about how that island looks and how the whole space looks together. We also had, in terms of lighting, we have these 3 pillar sort of lights over the top of the island bench, and then some more functional lighting towards the backs that lit up this back area and into these other spaces as well. So I think I've told you most of the products that we've used already. So the colors we've been through, the study nook itself, that was a Laminex product, seasoned oak in the ravine finish. So the ravine finish basically is the finish where it has a slightly grainy, woody texture to it. So it doesn't look entirely like fake wood. It is fake wood. It's just a laminate product, but it has a slightly more realistic look to it. So Laminex seasoned oak in ravine finish. And then, as I said, the range hood was done in a veneer by Feathers. This is just a not very professional looking picture of the back side of that island, so you can see the functionality that we had here. So this is actually the layout that I do in almost all projects, minus the wine fridge generally. So I have dishwasher and then the under sink area, which I have shelving so that you can actually maximize some storage and put stuff under there, and then a pull-out bin. And I do that with almost every project if I'm able to. Extremely functional. It means you can scrape, straight into the bin, rinse, and put into the dishwasher. So it works really well. We obviously also, this was quite a high-spec house. We were in an area where people expected this sort of thing, so we had a wine fridge. My husband and I have since given up alcohol, so we probably won't be putting wine fridges into future houses unless it stores our kombucha or something. But yeah, that was a good addition. And then actually this little leftover cupboard here turned out to be super handy. I just stored my chopping boards and platters and that sort of thing just all leaned up in that little cupboard, or you could store wine or whatever you would want to store in there. So that turned out to be actually a really useful little cupboard. So that is the kitchen area. Let's now move into, so that's where we were before. Here is just a orientate you, here is the built-in fridge and the study nook, and there's the back elevation. So we're now going to move into this mudroom area and the laundry area as well. And this is a very, very popular part of my social media. People love this space when I post about it. And basically, this is how you approached it. This is actually where we would come in as a family every single day. We didn't use the front door at all, so it was only guests who came through the front door. And functionally, this worked super well because we had space for the kids to drop their stuff and for us to, just go straight into where our main living area was. We're walking straight into the kitchen, so you could bring your shopping bags straight in and all of that sort of stuff. I put a nice little lemon tree here, and of course styled it with my hunter gum boots when I was taking the pictures. But this is how the old part of the bungalow connected with this brand new extension part at the back. And then once you walked into the space, this is what you first were greeted with, which is the mudroom sort of area here on your left and leading straight into the laundry. Now, I have a post on my blog all about your mudroom area and how to create the perfect mudroom. I'll link to that in the detailed notes below, just in case you're interested in finding out more about what I think makes the perfect mudroom. But one of the things I do think is really important is that you have it situated close to your laundry, so that, when the kids come in their rugby gear or they've got all their dirty stuff in their sports bag, it can all be just unloaded straight into the laundry without it all the mud and grossness going right through the entire house. So having it located next to the laundry is really helpful. And what we had here was a drawer which we sort of stored shoes and hats and that sort of stuff in. This cupboard, which I will show you inside in a moment. Some hooks. I get asked about these all the time. These are the dots they're called. And yeah, they just look really nice. It's sort of like a bit of art on the wall, but they do obviously have some functionality as well. And then just a little bench seat as well. Moving into the laundry, this was a very tiny space, but it was very functional. Plenty of bench space to store your washing basket and to do a bit of folding and stuff. The cupboards were really handy. We had plenty of space in there. We had a nice tall cupboard. Don't forget your tall cupboard in your laundry. Lots of people forget that when they're renovating. You want somewhere for your ironing board. You want somewhere for your vacuum cleaner. Don't forget these things, because you don't want to end up having to, lean your ironing board next to your fridge, which a lot of people end up having to do because this hasn't been thought through properly. So think through the functionality of everything that you have in your house before you start renovating and building your cabinetry. The tiles here were from Academy Tiles, and these were, just nice little sort of feature tile that we used. And the tap here we actually took from the temporary kitchen. So if you go back to my other videos in the series, you'll know, you will have seen that we used this in that kitchen, and that's the Astra Walker icon tap in aged brass. So let's move back into the functionality of the mudroom. So I had a little sort of area underneath the joinery here where people could kick off their shoes, and I had a little mat there because people just had dirty shoes. And that was quite functional and worked really well for keeping things tidy. In terms of the functionality, it's not very tidy inside the cupboard, but I had some storage for some shoes, and then each of the kids had their own basket. This was before the kids were all a little bit younger, so I only had one in school at this stage, so I didn't need to store, I think one school bag stored here when we needed to do that. I had also power put into this cupboard, so you can see I'm charging the hand vacuum in there. That's really handy, and I also was able to charge the iPads and the Leap Pad and all the different things in there as well. And this is another really nice feature about the mudroom area. So this was looking back into the kitchen, and behind there I have this really nice felt board. I get these from Al and M, and this is two felt boards stacked on top of each other, but this is a great place for the kids to, have their timetables and put up any art and stuff, sort of all the stuff you might pin to your fridge, but you might not want to have pinned to your fridge. So a great way for the kids to feel like their drawings and things and their certificates and things are being displayed without it sort of ruining the aesthetic of your house. And then this space we've already spoken about. We've got the V-groove there, and then those Muto dots and the little bench seat. So basically, I think, again, I've been through most of the products that we've used in these spaces. The one thing I didn't mention was that I used a sink that I always use in laundries from IKEA. I love this sink. It comes in black and white, and I use it all the time when I'm doing laundries. It's a very, very good, functional, inexpensive sink. So that's where that is from. Okay, let's now move into the living and dining area. So on the left, again, you can see what it looked like as we were building this space. And then on the right, once we had finished and furnished the area and looking out once the garden was all done and everything was all styled and everything. So this space, again, is very popular on my social media. A lot of people ask me about these table and chairs. The chairs are from Globe West, and the table is an ethnic craft table, which I also got from Globe West, but you can get it from all different places. The pendant lights are from Mud, Australia. They're ceramic pendants. They were absolutely beautiful. Not cheap, but they made a really, really big difference to this space. So I'm really pleased that we got those. A lot of people ask me about the artwork. That is from Aquabumps. And the sofas were from Freedom, and the rug was from Armadillo & Co. And that little side table that you can see there was from Jardin. And this entertainment unit was from what was then called Click On Furniture, which is now called Trit House. So here's another view of the room looking out at the pool, and those beautiful picture windows that let in so much light and also make that visibility of the pool area so good, so that if you are working in the kitchen, you've got slightly older kids and don't need to be standing right out with them, that you can see everything that's going on. And a few of the angles. So you can see looking back here, this is the study area that was the temporary kitchen. So that's really nice. We had these recessed blinds so that we could pull the blinds down for privacy at night, obviously, from the neighbours. And then we had these big stacker doors over here that we could open up and basically have that whole indoor-outdoor feeling in this back area. This is one of the shots from when we were selling the house. It's a bit sort of real estate-y, but I thought I'd just share it anyway. It just gives a little bit more detail of that living zone. And looking back again from the back of the house all the way through to the front of the house, it sort of almost looks like I painted the wall grey here, but it actually was white. And then this is another angle just to look at that wall light there, and then also how the picture window and all of those other windows all work together. A nice detailed shot of the pendant lights there and the table and chairs. And then this is just another angle of looking back to the kitchen as well. In this shot, you can see how the different spaces work together. So when you're standing sort of in front of the pantry, you can see going down into that media or bedroom 6, which we're going to come to soon. And this is the sort of dividing wall, and this is our extra bathroom here. I had this wall extended out so that it blocked the door, obviously, of this bathroom. It helped give a little bit more privacy to the bathroom. So if we had guests and whatever, they felt that it was a little more private. So again, the products used, I think I've been through most of them actually. The coffee table that you may have seen along the way. Let's have a look. There's a little bit of it. Is from Globe West, but otherwise I think I pretty much told you where everything else came from in this space. So let's move on to the bathroom. So here again is our real estate shot from when we sold. They've got that nice wide angle lens, but it helps to give you a glimpse of how the whole bathroom worked together. It's a little bit real estate-y, but you get the idea. Here are some of the professional images that I had, so that's a bit nicer to look at. And we have these really nice tiles, which were actually just cheap and cheerful tiles from Amber Tiles, and also just used satin rectified 300 by 600 on the other walls. So this was actually not expensive to tile this bathroom, but it looks really, quite high end. The fixtures that we used were high end. So this is a case of where I always think it's important to spend and save. Everyone is on a budget when they are doing renovations. This was an expensive renovation. This was a lot of money for us, but we were still on a budget. So the bath was a little more expensive. This was a stone bath. So that sort of made the bathroom feel more expensive, and then we had less expensive tiling. The basin and the fixtures were from Astra Walker, so they were a little more expensive, but again that was set off by, or the trade-off was to have the slightly less expensive tiling options. So you can sort of make things work and tailor your budget by doing clever things like that. The fixtures were in brushed platinum, and they were the Icon range from Astra Walker. The toilet and the bath were from Reese. The toilet is the Rocker Meridian from Reese, and I believe the bath is by Corona. The stool that you can see there is from Industria X. That was a custom piece. And then we move back down past the bathroom into the media room, which we used as a media room, but could also be used as a spare bedroom because it's also got this bathroom here as well. And again, here is the real estate shot. So it's a little bit sort of colourful and wide angled, but it gives you a really good sense of the space altogether. This had a beautiful indoor outdoor flow as well with these big doors. So this was a really, really nice space to be in. I painted this side of this wall in black clavier. The colour is called Jewel Luxe Clavier. I love painting walls with big TVs black where possible, especially in a media room type space. It really makes the TV disappear and helps to not make it a massive, massive focal point. If you have a husband like me who likes to have the biggest TV that he possibly can, this is a good trick for trying to hide it on your wall. This sofa here was from Freedom. There's just a few different close-ups of the black V-groove wall and then that indoor-outdoor flow. And here is the approach, and you can see the sort of mix of materials together. The carpet is from Cavalier Bremworth. It's the same carpet we used at the front part of the house just to tie everything together. Obviously our polished concrete floor, and then moving into our V-groove. You can see I do not have skirting, so we had the V-groove comes straight to the floor and it just had silicone to finish that off at the join between the concrete floor and the V-groove. There is that sofa from Freedom. I get asked about this map a lot. It is from IKEA, but it is no longer in stock. This was, you will have seen that in one of my kids' bedrooms in one of the previous videos, but we eventually moved it out the back here because it was a really good sized artwork for this space. So I think I've shared all of the different parts of this already. So the entertainment unit again was from Globe West. The throw that you can see here is from Pia Wallen, but I think I've shared the rest of the details already with you. So that is all the indoor parts of the space and all those images. Now let's move to this outdoor entertaining area. Here again is the real estate images of this space. This was so nice out here, just with the pool and the cubby house and the connection between indoor and outdoor. It worked out so nicely and we absolutely loved it. The pool was a really good size for the house. I think the pool was about 3 meters by 7 meters for those of you that are interested in that and just interested in what that sort of size looks like in comparison to the rest of the house. And here it is looking back from that back corner. We've obviously got the cubby house for the kids, which I've spoken about before, that they never went into, even though it had lighting and a TV and power and everything that you would possibly want. They never went in. Here are some more pictures. I think this must have been the day that I got the sofa because you can see it's all still wrapped in plastic. The table and chairs is something that I get asked about a lot. The table is from Globe West and the dining chairs are made by Tate. These were not inexpensive purchases, but they made a massive, massive difference. We have taken those to our new house and they look great in our new house as well. Here's a little bit of detail here about how the house connected to the pool area. So I didn't want the grass sort of all treading in and out of the house and in and out of the pool. So we have these sort of stepping stones put in just to come from the inside of the house through to the pool fence and into the pool area. And here's just a bit more detail of the chairs and the dining table that we used, which I absolutely love. I also got my builder to build us a custom barbecue. So we bought the barbecue unit and then he built this cabinet for the barbecue. We used some of the floor tiles here that we had left over as the top of the barbecue. That didn't work terribly well. A lot of the fat and stuff all sort of went into those tiles. So that's probably something I wouldn't do again. The tiles didn't need sealing. They were fine, but for some reason they just didn't work well as the top of the barbecue area there. There's probably very few sorts of materials that work all that well with all the fat of a barbecue, but that one definitely didn't work too well. This outdoor furniture here was from Winston's Teak. It was beautiful actually. White cushions with children and outdoor spaces. They look fantastic, but they are not practical. So if you don't want to be yelling at your children to get their filthy outdoor feet off your white lounge all the time, then I would suggest you do not get a white lounge for your external area. But they look really, really nice. I found them so irritating that I sold those to the owners of the new house. They suited the house. They were bought for the house, and so they stayed with the new owners. And so this is just a bit of a summary of all the different spaces in the outdoor area. Again, I think I've been through most of where the different products came from. The pavers that we used around the pool and on the patio area were again from Amber. The cubby house that we got was from Aaron's Outdoor Living, which we custom painted. If you're interested in more detail about that, that's in one of the previous videos. I think it's in video 3 that I talk about that. And the barbecue obviously was custom built. So that is the end of our 5-part video series on this house. So I really, really hope that you have enjoyed taking a tour of this house. I get, as I said, so many questions about it that I just wanted to do a full breakdown of the entire space, share everything that I could about the different products that we used, how I thought about the design project, the floor plans, the budget, the things we came up against, the hidden costs, all of those things that people don't really talk about all the time when they are sort of revealing projects and doing these sorts of things. So I really, really hope that this has been really informative for you. If you have any friends or whatever that are renovating and who might find this video series helpful, I would love for you to share the series with them. That would be a great help to me. As I mentioned, this channel is just getting started, so if you are interested in seeing future videos that I have, I'm going to be trying to release a video every week on all different aspects of design and building a design business and those sorts of topics. So if you are interested in that, please hit the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so that you can find out when the next series goes live. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. That would help me greatly, as it just helps the YouTube algorithm to show this to more people, which helps my channel to grow, given that I'm only just starting out with this new channel. So thank you very much in advance for doing that. If you would like more ideas and inspiration, I share so much free content about design, about running a business, about productivity, about SketchUp, which is a design drawing program. And if you are not following me yet on Facebook or on Instagram, please come and do that. My handle is The Little Design Corner on both platforms, and I would love to have you part of my community. Thanks so much for watching this video series. I hope you have found that really valuable, and I will see you around in the social channels. Bye for now.